every 20 minutes. It's your statewide Alabama weathercast.
Good afternoon. I'm meteorologist Drew McCombs with the Alabama Weather Network, and we have your afternoon Alabama forecast. Looking at the satellite and radar across the state, got some clouds moving into the northern part of the state. Lots of sunshine in the southern half, and there's a mixture of sun and clouds, especially in the northeast. A little bit more high cloud cover to the northwest, though, but still not expecting any sort of rain chances for today. But looking at Ardmore there at the state line with Tennessee, temperature at 76 degrees, dew points at 57. So we've got those low dew points because the cold front passed through there yesterday, but we do have some high cloud cover keeping those temperatures down a little bit as well. And looking at Bald Rock further towards the southeast, the temperature is at 75 degrees. You can see some of those high clouds in the distance, but overhead of Bald Rock, it's blue skies right now. Dew points in the 50s there as well. Pretty nice day outside across most of the state. Same thing goes for Montgomery, blue skies, maybe a few clouds in the distance, but temperature's a little bit warmer, 86 degrees, and the dew point's not quite as low, but still for this time of year, 64 degrees, we'll definitely take that. And as we go a little bit further to the south, we looked at Dozier this morning, and we see a little bit of a difference there when we look at our dew point. We were in the lower 70s, now we're in the upper 60s. So you can see those continuing to go down as the cold front has now passed through Dozier and continues down towards the south. And that's what we're watching for today and this week. The drier air is continuing to push further to the south, getting close to the southern edge and to the Gulf at this point. And then once that's all the way through here, and once we get a reinforcing shot of another front for tomorrow, we'll expect 50s possible for the lows, especially in the northern part of the state as we get into Wednesday morning. And then showers are possible late this week. We'll see increasing rain chances. Could see a couple of showers in the northern part of the state tomorrow as well. We'll talk about that more here in a second. But as far as temperatures, pretty pleasant out there for an August day. It's 82 degrees in Birmingham, 79 in Coleman. A lot of places up north still haven't reached 80 degrees yet with that cool start this morning. Down towards the south, there are some places that are getting into the 90s already. 93 in Monroeville, 92 in Atmore. So we do have some 90s down there. So it'll be South Alabama. We'll have to wait another day before getting a little bit more of a cooler afternoon at least. Dew points have made a pretty good surge. The low dew points have made a good surge with the dry air coming in behind the front. So we've got now 50-degree dew points extending all the way to places like Demopolis, Clanton, and Alex City, with 60-degree dew points or dew points in the 60s down in Auburn and Greenville and Monroeville. And now at this point, it looks like Geneva and Gulf Shores are some of the lone holdouts that are still in the 70s. So again, that front is just about through the state all the way, which is going to give everybody some pretty decent lows tonight as far as being fairly low for this time of year. So looking at the forecast lows for tonight, plenty of places in the low 60s. I think it's very possible some of the cooler pockets are going to get into the upper 50s because we had some of that last night as well. Looking further to the south, still a lot of 60s out there, and a few places closer to the coast may not quite get in the upper 60s, but again, still lower than average. Forecast highs for tomorrow, expecting to be a little bit cooler than today. Upper 70s still the main story in the northern part of the state, but down towards the south, we should see mostly 80s. Could touch 90 in a few spots, but we think for the most part, we're going to be in the 80s across the southern tier of the state. And then as we get into Tuesday night and into Wednesday, that's really where we expect maybe the coolest night of the week, with lows well into the 50s, maybe into the possibly in some spots, I would say lower 50s is certainly possible as we get into Wednesday morning, and then lots of low 60s across the south. And we think everybody pretty much should get into the 60s for Wednesday morning. All right, your futurecast shows, again, those high clouds coming in from the north, mostly sunshine across the rest of the state. Beautiful day for the most part. And then as we get into tomorrow morning, we've got more cloud cover coming in and a few showers coming in here. This again is that kind of reinforcing cold front and upper level disturbance that's going to help to reinforce the drier air. But with that, there's some uplift. So it's going to create a few showers. So we really don't expect a whole lot. It looks like most of the showers sort of fade as they get into North Alabama. So if anything, a light shower, brief shower, a sprinkle or two. Plenty of places probably won't get anything other than just some cloud cover. And as it moves further to the south, it continues to lose steam. So we see less chance down towards the south than what you would see up to the north. And by Wednesday, we're cleared out again, looking beautiful across pretty much the entire state. All right, we're still watching the tropics, but things are continuing to kind of sort of settle down here. We do have Tropical Storm Fernand, which is out in the Atlantic and is at this point organized a little bit better than it was yesterday. But again, it's going to be moving away from us here. Here's the forecast from the NHC. So 60 mile per hour sustained winds currently, but that's forecast to weaken here pretty soon as it continues to move off to the northeast into less favorable waters. So we'll be glad to go ahead and get this one further out to sea. And looking at the development chance for the next 7 days from the National Hurricane Center, no other development chances, no other storms expected to form in the next week. There's Fernan up there. And then this was the wave that we had been watching, but it has become more diffuse. And so at this point, as it moves further into the Caribbean, not expecting any development, and thankfully not expecting any development in the Gulf as well for the next week. Looking at our temperature outlook for next week, though, so this is interesting to see that we're still seeing below average temperatures forecast. Again, this would be for next week. So you still see basically the whole state in that below average sort of category. And so we could see this cooler than normal pattern sticking around for a little bit longer than just this week. So, hey, that's pretty nice for this time of year. Looking at our 7-day forecast, again, for the northern part of the state, getting into lower 80s in some spots, upper 70s in others. There's that little small chance of those showers passing through with that reinforcing shot for tomorrow. And then the cool morning on Wednesday, beautiful conditions really across the board on Wednesday with those lows down into the 50s. And as we head towards the weekend, again, rain chances bump up a little bit, but you don't see the heat levels really bumping up a whole lot. It'll get a little bit warmer, but definitely not expecting to get back up to seasonal norms. And looking at South Alabama, again, we've got places getting into the 90s this afternoon, but as we move into the next couple of days, mainly upper 80s, those lows getting down well below normal, good 5 or 10 degrees below normal in the 60s. And we kind of continued that on through the weekend with those rain chances on the increase. Well, that is your Alabama forecast for now. We'll have another one coming up later on the Alabama Weather Network.